We've got some
Hey, I'm Luis.
And I'm Luis.
And you're listening to the Content is Profit podcast.
We spent the last 4 years learning the strategies and techniques from some of the top marketers in the world on how to create content that turns into profit. And today, we're bringing them to you so you can take action immediately and start creating real content momentum.
If you'd like to learn more about how to turn your content into profit, go to contentisprofit.com. Oh, yeah. Welcome. We are so excited for today's guest. She is a trailblazer and a total boss. We met her through content conversations. That's right. Engage with people in social media and look for opportunities to connect.
Content conversations for the win.
Let's go.
But check this out. Like we mentioned, she is pretty epic. Today's guest was actually selected to be one of the coaches alongside Dean Graziosi, just saying Dean Graziosi, no big deal, in the Knowledge Broker Blueprint course. That for you guys right there, that's the Tony Robbins course, right? So pretty epic. She even got an award from Dean and Tony themselves. Epic.
Not only that, she has also built a 7-figure SaaS business and has been featured in Vogue magazine for her e-commerce business. Pretty epic if you ask me. Oh, and did we mention she launched a top chart podcast called the Entrepreneurial Accelerator podcast?
We didn't mention it, but I am glad you just did.
You're
Good
welcome.
job.
You're welcome.
Please welcome 7-figure business owner, founder of the Entrepreneur Accelerator Lab, and hashtag Lady Boss, Reem Kharbat.
Oh my God. Woo.
Reem,
Oh my
welcome
God,
to the
guys.
show.
You are awesome. I was just sitting here laughing and I was like, you guys are so good. I hope that I can be as cool as you. And it's really hard to cope with. Like it puts a lot of pressure on me because I hope that I'm fun like you. Seriously. Thank you so much.
You are incredible, Reems. Thank you so much for being here.
The only reason we were able to pull that off is because all the stuff, the amazing stuff that you've done. You
Exactly.
know, if we have somebody who's like, hey, you know, for example, Luis and Luis play soccer. That's it. That's all we've done.
That'll
That'll be our intro. But we're extremely honored that you like. Tell us a little bit. Where are you joining us from? Like, this is so exciting.
So I'm in Saudi Arabia. It's not where I'm originally from. I'm from Jordan, but I live in Saudi Arabia with my husband, with my little daughter, and our cat, Chicken Nugget. And we moved here just because 4 years ago when we started our business, our entrepreneurial journey, it's been crazy, but the place here is even crazier. So I think it's breaking a little bit. I don't know if I'm still live with you.
So we can still hear you
We hear
perfectly.
you and we see you perfect.
Yeah, and we see you perfect too. So if it's something happens on our end, we'll definitely let you know. And this is a beautiful
Okay.
thing about going live.
Sure.
So just let's embrace it. Embrace
Okay.
virtual hug. Now, Reem, I've connected with you a little bit, and I think I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna throw myself under the bus because we were supposed to be on a call, and then I stopped following up. Basically, I'm like, hey, you know, I would love to connect with people.
You're
I'm like,
right.
man. And then I'm like, we connected, and then you started publishing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is so cool. And we saw what you were doing on your show, and we're like, this is somebody that we absolutely have to bring because her message is so important, and especially you are executing on publishing, which is one of the things that we talk every single day. But I would like to like go back a little bit, and I would love for you to share a little bit of your story of like who are you? Like where, like obviously you're coming from Jordan to Saudi Arabia. You kind of mentioned that a little bit, but why this entrepreneurial like knowledge broker? I mean, the 7-figure SaaS company, that's incredible. Like where does that fire start?
Awesome. Well, I never knew that this would be me today. Looking at myself, where I grew up, coming from a very small country, like it's one of the tiniest countries on the map. I come from Jordan. I come from a very humble family. My mom and dad, they were both educators, teachers, and like I can say that we were not rich. We were just, as I said, I came from a very humble family, and coming from this environment or this society, girls or women in general, we were not destined or conditioned to believe that we can dream or even think
Mm,
big, or the maximum achievement that we can think of is just to become an office clerk. Um, but the good thing about my family is that because of they were educators, they brought us to think more, of education, and because it was for them, it was the only
mhm.
weapon or tool to leave a legacy. This is the only thing that they're proud of, that they raised us to become good people, good humans. And but I always had deep inside, I always had this feeling that there is something more to life than what I have. It's
Yeah.
not that I was not grateful, but I was very curious. And this curiosity started when I met my cousins who came for a vacation from the States. And I felt that everything about them was different, like as if they were coming from a different planet. And that's even
Oh,
a title of an episode that I have in my podcast, which is Traveling to Planet America. Everything
yeah.
was different, the language, the clothes, the accessories that they had, the stationery, the pens, the writings. For me it was like very mind blowing. It's like totally
Wow.
different than me. And through them I met a pen friend who started writing me from the States, from Texas. And from there it developed the passion
Yeah.
inside me, knowing that there is something outside this zone or this bubble that I was raised in. And it
Uh,
grew something deep inside me about exploring and learning new things. And fast forward, I climbed the ladder of the corporate job, just like any American dreamer. Um,
yeah.
going to college, getting a good degree, and then working hard to get high salary, and then to you know um, working even harder to prove yourself to your boss so that you can earn a bonus or a raise. And I did everything as requested for me. I was a very good employee. I was a very good daughter. Like I was doing everything by the book. But there is something deep inside me, knowing
Yeah.
that there is something more, but I don't know what it is. And I remember when I got into the corporate world and I climbed the ladder super fast at a young age, I became a CFO, and then I was promoted also to be a member of the board of directors for a big telecom group. So I had to travel to many countries for my job, and the
Yeah.
last one was in Iraq, where I don't know if you know where is Iraq. It's where
Yeah.
ISIS, the jihadists,
Yeah.
and the whole crazy things in the world happen. And I
Yeah.
was there when it all started.
Wow.
Um, I met the love of my life there, which was like I remember the song of Rihanna. What found we found love in in a
Yeah.
hopeless place. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That because it was that on that year I remember. So I got married in a very unexpected place, and on the day I gave birth to my baby, I received a text from my boss and he asked me to quit because I was too expensive for them. And that was a crazy moment. And that moment created the shift in my life because I was super angry. I was super scared. I was worried how would I maintain the same standards of life because I thought that I owned the
Yeah.
world. I was a top-notch
Yeah.
employee. I was traveling the world. I had big fat salary. So how could I maintain that kind of living? Because even my husband, 2 months before what happened to me, he came to me and he said, I want to leave my executive job as well because he wanted to start an idea. And I was like, you know what? As a good wife, I'm going to support you and you can count on me. My salary is really good and I can back you up. And
Yeah.
after 2 months, I was kicked out of my job. So suddenly, both of us with a newborn baby, we were unemployed. So that
Oh.
was a moment where we had to take a decision on what to do. So whether to go back to employment
Huh.
or because everybody else around us, like my whole family, his family, our friends, they were telling us, "You're crazy. You have to find a job immediately. You have a newborn baby." And like, this is the natural way of doing things. But for me, it was not. I felt that the crazy thing is to go back to employment, to build someone else's dream, try to prove myself to others who did not appreciate me as a woman, as a mom. And I felt like I really couldn't do this. And that was the epiphany when I found that I will not go back to employment. I will figure out how can I build my own business or dream and not someone else. And this is when we started our first idea, which is a SaaS business. And we
Mm.
sold the first prototype, just the idea and the vision. We sold the first prototype for $317,000. And from
Wow.
there, everything was like history. This is how it started.
Oh.
So yeah, I can talk on and on and on nonstop, but
But
like
I'm
I'm
just
open
gonna
for
I'm
questions.
just gonna plug in your podcast. Can you like share a little bit like where can people find these stories? Because it's fascinating to me. Like,
Absolutely.
uh, um, for those listening, my jaw like literally was dropped all the way to the table. Because this is a very uncommon story. We haven't seen that kind of story in the podcast before, and I think maybe it's also because we haven't brought any too many international people, right? Like we bring a lot
Mm,
of people from the states because it's a
mm,
network that we're in, is a people that
mm,
we get to know. Obviously, that's closer to us. We are originally from Venezuela, right? So we are a
Mhm.
little familiar with also the rest of the world. We've been to Europe. We lived in Europe for a couple of years. We have friends and family in Asia, in Africa, even, right?
mm.
And we hear the stories, but to listen to you explain what is it like to come from a country like Jordan and inside of that bubble that you mentioned, and then kind of crushing all those beliefs, right? And that cannot
Yeah.
be an easy process. We mentioned some of our story in the past too, where with Venezuela, we were very lucky that our parents were super open and they were like, "Hey, you want to be a shoe shiner? Be the best shoe shiner ever!" Right? Like for us, it was soccer. We wanted to be soccer players, but we
Yeah.
understand that there were also a lot of families and friends that we currently have too that they lived somewhat of a bubble culturally or even with their religion. And then that doesn't allow
Mm,
them to explore new possibilities that could mean the world, or you can actually start changing other lives as well.
Yeah.
So what you're sharing with us is incredibly inspiring, and I just want to say thank you for that. That you're incredibly
thank
brave
you.
to take that stand and
Absolutely.
be like, absolutely, I'm actually gonna go and just grab the future, and this is what I want. This is what I'm gonna create. And
Yeah.
I cannot imagine how scary it would have been to be unemployed, both of you guys, with a baby. I have
In Iraq too,
a
while
Yes.
ISIS was developing and everything. How
exactly.
insane that is, right?
Yeah, I currently have a 2-year-old, right? And my wife, bless her heart, like she also helps a ton, right? She's a pharmacist, and I
Mhm.
cannot be more thankful because she allows me to do this dream, right? That it's been growing and it's amazing. But to be in that position where both of you are in that, wow, like mentally, like, and we'll dive
Mhm.
into everything else. Mentally, what was that process for you? Like, was there a certain framework that you follow? What do you guys do to kind of transition?
I've been asked this question a lot, to be honest, because yes, um, there was no framework. There was only one thing that I believe, and I still do until today, which
Yeah.
is taking a decision. It's just a
Mm,
decision. And a lot of times we fear taking decisions because we fear the unknown. So it's always easier for us to just run to either not to confront the situation by running away from it or hiding from it or taking the, let's say, staying in the comfort zone and not just do anything about it and staying miserable and repeat the whole thing over and over again, right? So
yeah.
what happened with us at that time, it was very scary because again, uh, we always think that our capabilities in life is just what is written inside our resume. So
Mm,
whatever you write inside your resume, you think that this is only what you're good at, and it's true. So, and you don't try even to get out of that resume. You don't even try, and you don't
Mhm.
know that you can do much more than that. So I was a CFO, and I thought that I'm just a CFO, or let's say I'm in finance. There's nothing else that I could do. But let me tell you something. When you decide that this is not what you want to do, and you have to figure out a way, or just I will not go back to employment, and I will figure out how to build my own business. You will figure it out. Okay,
Yeah.
Mm.
the whole universe will be together helping you to find the way. And this is exactly what happened. I sat with my husband, and we had this clear communication together, and we said that we know that this is going to be tough. We're not
Yeah.
experts. We don't have family and friends supporting us because they were calling us insane all the time, because we're
Mhm.
having a new baby and we're just not doing the let's say the natural thing that everybody else is doing. For them,
Yeah.
it's insane.
Yeah.
So we sat together and we decided that no matter what, we're gonna make it work. So it's like taking a decision of a marriage. We're
Yeah.
gonna be together for better or worse. We're gonna be together. So we know that there are going to be tough times, whether it's lack of cash or money. We're gonna lose our maybe our savings, whatever left for us. Um, there are going to be times where we feel like overwhelmed or scared, or maybe, all those mixed feelings. But we have
Mhm.
to be together, support each other, and lift each other up. So we were like just sitting and talking to each other like this. We
Mm.
have to figure it out, and we have to make it work no matter what. So it was that decision that helped us go through, because there were some times when I almost broke down, or my husband, like, he was super scared when we had less than $5,000 in the bank. And he
Ooh.
woke me up and he said, listen, we just moved to Saudi Arabia, and we had the prototype. We had no connection in Saudi Arabia. We just
Yeah.
moved here because we know that the economy is better. We know that we can push our product in here. And definitely we were running away from Iraq.
Yeah.
So he told me, Reem, I have to tell you that we have less than $5,000 in the bank. We have to pay for the rent. We have to pay for the lawyers, for our residency. We have to pay for food and for the development of our idea. So I just want to tell you that next month, it's going to be like, he was telling me, and he was shaking. It was in the middle of the night. And I
Wow.
remember I was like, my heart was like pounding, and I was super scared when he said that. But then I was
My
like,
heart is pounding right now. Like I am so
you know,
nervous.
Yeah.
yes. And I was like, but we knew that this is going to happen. We knew it. And regardless, we have to figure it out. And
Yeah.
it's okay. We have to be patient. Our idea is great. And we have just to push now harder. We have to work harder for this. And we cried together. We hugged each other. And we tried to make it like I told him. I remember I told him, if it was that easy,
Yeah.
then everybody else would have done it, right? And because of this day that happened, that like this is going to be the chapter in our best-selling book that we're going to sell and inspire people on how, like, because if there was no challenges like this, if we did not have less than $5,000 in the bank, our story is going to be really boring, and no one's gonna um, get it, right? It's not gonna
Yeah.
inspire people. And the very next day, we received the call from that prospect client, and he said, I believe in you. And he just said, when can we start? We signed an agreement for $317,000. We're still working with them until today. We generated
Wow.
over $2 million from that same client and more.
Ooh.
So, so I'm telling you, it's not a framework, it's not a process, it's just the decision that you have to make it work no matter what. You have just to keep on going, because I always say this: do not quit yet, because you might be 3 feet away from gold. So just wait there, hang in there, keep on doing what you believe in, and things will be amazing.
Wow, what an incredible story. Thank you so much for sharing
And
that. And
lesson.
yeah, so many lessons in there, right? Like one
Yeah.
of the ones that really stuck out to me is the fact that you were, hey, we're gonna lean into this. We are embracing these challenges, right? And you guys, even though of course there were difficult moments, like this story that you said that your husband was even shaking, telling you about, what could happen.
Yeah.
Seems like you guys were positive and you knew, like, hey, you know what, like, we believe in what we can do, yet you face reality as it is, right? And we've had this conversation before, in one of our episodes, Joseph Hansen, for those that want to go listen, where he talks about the Stockdale's paradox, right? And
Mm,
it's about that. It's about, hey, we are positive in the future, that we are going to a good place, we're going to do something good, yet we need to face the facts of reality, so we know exactly how we need to act, right? Because a lot of people, and I relate to that because I'm a very positive person. My brother is as well. And I used to be like, oh, yeah, everything's going to be okay, right? And sometimes avoid reality because it's difficult, right? It's difficult to
yeah.
face reality and accept that you might not be in the right position. And if you don't accept that, it's very difficult to be proactive and actually take action that's going to move you forward towards that
Yeah.
positive outlook that you have. And I feel like you guys did just that. You're like, you know what? Like, we're going to be okay, but this is where we are right now. We need to act accordingly. So that is
Yeah.
huge. Thank you so much. And I love the fact that it's not a process, it's a decision, right? Because a lot of
Absolutely.
times people are asking, oh, but how am I going to do it if I go this way? How am I going to do it if I lean into pain like this? Guess what? It's different for everybody else, right? Some people have to, go to the place where they only have $5,000 left in their bank account. Some people find a way maybe a little bit faster, and some people go all the way to broke and then they bounce back, right? So there's not a specific process, but you need to lean into that decision
Yeah.
and take action, be proactive.
Yeah. I
Absolutely.
what, just for reference, like what was the time frame, right? Like that in which all this happened.
So it started like I was kicked out of my job end of 2014,
Wow.
and mid of 2015 we started building this. Like I
Yeah.
remember I was holding my baby in on this hand, breastfeeding
Yeah.
her. On the right hand I was learning, I was taking video tutorials, watching video tutorials on how to create a video explainer about our idea. Our idea started as a small app. We didn't know that it's going to expand into a huge SaaS software. So I was
Yeah.
learning how to do things. And the first prototype that we sold was into mid 2000, early 2017. So it's a time span
Wow.
of a year, maybe 18 months, when we started the idea and moved from Iraq to Saudi Arabia. But
Yeah.
we were working, we were just trying to
Ab-
figure out things, and we were learning things, and it wasn't easy. Like I'm telling you, I used to be a member of the board of directors. I used to take decisions for hundreds of millions of dollars, but for other people. And when it comes to your own business and your own money, you become suddenly like an ignorant, you're super
yeah.
scared. You feel like you don't know what to do. I am so good at doing business plans and strategic plans, but when it comes to you and to your family, it's totally different, because
Yeah.
fear prevails, right? It's like it covers everything. And that's when we realize that we should not be emotional, and we have to understand that this is the process. There should be fear, it's normal. There should be sometimes when we are just tired, overwhelmed, scared. It's okay, it's part of the process, but
Yeah.
one of us has to be strong to help the other. So it
Yeah.
can't be the two of us. No way. And
Yeah.
even this applies even for when we're raising our child. If I scream at her, he should not. Like, there should be balance.
The balance. Yeah.
So,
The reason I asked about the time frame is, because sometimes, especially in this digital space, right? Everybody wants to dive into the digital. The perception that we've had is like it's immediate, right? Like it's like, we do this, like, or even with publishing, right? Like we start publishing, it's like we should
oh
expect
no.
immediate results. So we've been asking this question in the last few episodes to give a sense of like, okay, I'm being consistent on the way that I think. I'm being consistent on the way that I make decisions. I'm being consistent on the way that I continue to improve myself. to continue to make these decisions over time.
Yeah.
And for us, Bistros as a company has been around for 5 years, right? Like, and it's been like we've made
Mm,
so many mistakes. We've done so many other things. Like we started as a sticker company, and
yeah.
then as a screen printing company, and the stories are, you can listen in the other episodes. But that led us to the point that we're now publishing on Contents Profit, and offering a different service to when we started, right? Like there's a learning process here,
Yeah.
and especially for you listening or watching right now. um these stories like yours, Reem, is so inspiring, and I hope it gives you a framework. I hope it gives you enough gas to be like, okay, I have to expect fear. I have to expect these bumps on the road, and I'm gonna be prepared to tackle them, right? No matter what. And for you, for example, like I admire the fact that you and your partner have that amazing communication, and that's something that I personally in my
Yeah.
life I have to get better. Recently recognized it, right? My wife is zero entrepreneur, like complete opposite,
Mm,
right? It's like security job, like this is it. My job is my mediums to an end, which is her Disney vacations, right? So
yeah.
well, we're completely different people, but we are on the same page, and I think that communication has to keep going. So yeah, I admire you for sharing that story, and how powerful that is. And this morning I was listening to Russell's episode on the framework of Christmas, right? And he talks
Mm,
about believing, right? And it's like, okay, yeah, he was talking about the Polar Express movie, and if you can only see it if you believe it, but then somebody else is like, well, I will only believe it if I see it. So kind of backwards. And it's the power of creating your own reality, right? Like you believed in this
true.
thing, you believed in your husband, you believed in your product, you believed that this was going to happen. And the moment that you guys sat and had that conversation, you're like rock bottom, like we're hugging, we're crying. The next day things happened, and I was having a conversation yesterday, and it was very similar thing where they hit rock bottom, and then very next day when they recognize it, the doors open with a prospect, the doors open to
True.
an opportunity. And it's happened multiple times in these 9 months for us, and it's
Mhm.
happened multiple times for the people that we work with, and we're like, wow, that is the thing. So it started to happen, and thank you for bringing that story, because it is so powerful. We have to believe that is there, right? And even though there might be like up and down, there might not be, like there will be ups and downs,
There
like
will be,
yes,
Yeah.
because
that's the road.
let me tell you, you asked me and I told you it's 18 months or a year and a half when we got that deal, but that does not mean that we became the millionaires that we wanted to be,
Yeah,
or that we took that money to build our business. We did not even take a vacation to enjoy or to celebrate. Okay, we celebrate a little bit, but we did not even do real thing. We just took the money and we reinvested it. We did a lot of mistakes that we are learning until today. We're learning from on how to invest properly and how to manage your money. Because let me tell you something: there are a lot of people in the online space or who are doing businesses, and they will tell you, "Oh, we generated 7 figures or more," but that does not mean that they're millionaires, because
exactly.
how do you spend it? How did you reinvest it in your business? How much profit did you get out of it? So we're still learning from that. And
Yeah,
every day there is a different kind of challenge. So whether it's just having less than $5,000 in the bank, this is one kind of a challenge. But every day there is a different kind of challenge, whether it's the pandemic or the economy is down or there's something new. Okay. And that's why, yes, you have to be prepared. You have to know that you should be there should be times where you will be scared, or you will be alone, or you will be sick or tired or overwhelmed. It's
yeah,
okay. Just the lesson in here is to rise up in the very next day. Remember that you have this goal and you have to make it work. What happens with other people is that they immediately quit when they face the first bump in the road. They quit and they say, "Oh, you know what? It's not working."
yeah,
I see it every day with my sister who's trying to start her job. You can tell from the mindset, it's different. And
yeah,
that's why they say 80% of success is mindset, because without the mindset, really, that you have to work on every single day to train your mindset to be okay with fear,
yeah,
with failures. if you do not train your mindset, you cannot have the
Yeah.
entrepreneurial stamina to succeed on the long run. You might get $300,000 on one deal, but you will not succeed for a long run. Yes.
Absolutely.
I love the concept, the entrepreneurial stamina. I'm actually writing it down here. And I'm curious, like, is that problem that you realize, that mindset problem, that entrepreneurial stamina problem that other people have, is that what led you to create the Entrepreneur Accelerator Lab? Or
Yes.
what was it for you? Oh, so that was part of it. And what is it? What is exactly the Entrepreneur Accelerator Lab for those that are listening?
Okay. So another story that happened. So when me and my husband built that business, the SaaS business, and we started growing it and adding more team to it, and we started to feel a little bit comfortable, let's say, by adding systems and stuff. Me personally, as Reem, I felt that, oh, I believe that I have this FOMO thing, especially after the clubhouse that I was telling you about. So I think it's real. So I felt that, you know what, now that I have eliminated the fear from starting a business, and actually, it's an easy game in terms of, if it works, I know how to make things work. And if it does not, I can start, or I can pivot or shift, and I will make it work out. So I
Yeah.
wanted to do something for me as Reem, as a personal brand. But
Hmm.
I started that with my e-com business. I started an online store, and I received this email from Vogue magazine, and they were telling me about, like, the store and the concept of it, and they wanted to feature me in there, and I was like super amazed by it. Like, how did this happen? But
Yeah.
again, with the money coming in, with the stability happening, I was really happy, and things were like, I needed more adrenaline. But what happened, by end of November 2018, I knew that my best friend, he had a car accident and he passed away. He lived in Iraq. In January, after a month, I knew that my mom passed away. I was here in Saudi Arabia and she was in Jordan. And also in May 2019, I had a miscarriage. So you can say that in the time span of a few months, I lost three dear people to me. And that moment, um, I felt that, seriously, like, you can lose your life in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Life is tough, it's cruel, it's meaningless. It's not about money, I had money, and then I did not have money, and then I had money. It's not about money. There should be something else. And I felt that I couldn't wake up. I did not want to see anybody. My little daughter, she used to come to me and she said, Mom, are you sick? Like, you I was not interacting with anybody. The good thing is that my husband was super supportive. He was taking care of the house and the daughter and the business and everything. And I was just sleeping all the time until I got an ad from Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi talking about this thing that will allow you to leave a legacy
Yeah.
and and create an impact. And since English is not my first language, those two words created something so deep inside me. I had to sneak in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. and watch that training that they have done. And I immediately said that I have to be part of this, because now, after losing three of the dearest people to me, I don't want to be just a number in this world. I don't want to
Yeah.
be someone who could just come and go. It's not about the money. There should be something else for me. God created me for something bigger. And I felt that that should be the thing that I need to be part of. And I immediately signed for the KBB. Okay, it's a great program. What I always tell everybody about it, it's an amazing program. But the
Yeah.
beauty of it is leveraging the network, and most importantly, it gives you the belief that you can do bigger things. This is the beauty of Tony Robbins. he immediately ignited this fire inside me that made me believe that I can do things from this tiny place on earth, from Saudi
Yeah.
Arabia. I can just help share my voice and impact other people.
Yeah.
And it was like the idea immediately started, like, what people are suffering, most of entrepreneurs, is that they want to start and launch a business. They want to create a business, but they don't know how. It takes them years to figure it out. They will fail and maybe quit from, as we said, from the first hiccup that they face. So this
Yeah.
where the entrepreneur accelerator started that concept, where at first I wanted to share my voice and see, would there be any person on earth listening to me? Having this imposter syndrome, not having English as my first language, like, who would listen to me? A girl from Saudi Arabia, in Saudi Arabia, not speaking English very well, and like, who would listen to me?
Well, just so you know,
And
you speak English better than
That
both
we
of
do.
us. Yeah. I was just gonna
thank
say
you.
fancy, but
Let me
better than
tell
me
you,
too.
that was a very big limiting belief that was stopping me from taking the first step. And when I did, I was really amazed. First of all, Elena Cardone was my first guest. So that was one of the biggest, another limiting belief that I shattered, which is, um, most of people, they do not approach big influencers because they assume that no will be an answer. But
Yeah.
all you have to do is just simply ask. And this is what I've done. I just asked. And she said yes. She was the first guest. That was number one lesson that I've learned.
Incredible.
Number two, I had zero followers. No one knew who Reem was in your side of the world. I'm here. And I managed to rank my podcast in the top charts. And I have a lot of listeners. Actually, 95% of my listeners are from the US, and the rest from Canada and UK, and maybe less than 1% in the Middle East. So
Yeah.
from being here in Saudi Arabia, I managed to do this, or sharing my voice to almost everywhere in the world. And that was huge, knowing that I can help and impact and inspire people from just this tiny screen by just talking. And that was
Yeah.
like just amazing.
Wow. What that is an incredible motivational story. It's amazing. I love how you said like the course is it was good, but what you take away, the most important thing is the network that you created there and the belief that it gave you, right? And I think that is so important when looking to create impact, right? Like
Yeah.
is you need to make other people see and that they can believe in themselves, right? Because that is not belief on like, oh, I'm believing that X, Y, and Z is going to work. No, I believe in me and that I can make that work, right? At the end of the day, you are the one responsible for your own success. And
Absolutely.
like you said, like we in January we went to Funnel Hacking Live and we were lucky enough to see Tony Robbins in person. When we left, we were like, wow, I can do anything we can do
Yeah.
anything in the world, literally. And it's an amazing feeling. So for those listening, ask yourself, am I actually conveying this feeling to the people that is following me, right? Am I actually putting this into my content? Am I building belief into my content so the people that are listening to you and following you, you can empower them to take on the next challenge,
Yeah.
right? To kind of like build up that entrepreneur stamina, like you mentioned, right? I think that
Absolutely.
personally comes from belief. And it's such an incredible story. Thank you so much. And it's definitely a very vulnerable story as well. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing.
I want to
Thank-
highlight something like kind of behind the scenes too. Like with every question that we've asked, you've answered with a story, and that's incredible, right? And I don't know if it comes from the continual learning that you've done, but as a as a fellow content creator, I really appreciate it, right? Like, and for those listeners that are starting to publish, I encourage you guys, start digging into your stories. You know, Reem, you've shared so many amazing
Mhm.
things today, and vulnerable things, like hard things to share. So I appreciate you having the bravery to say that stuff. We've had some stories on our end too that you know we kept for a long time, you know, bottled up, and we've had these conversations where they ask us, and we've kind of mentioned it. They're like, man, you guys have to share more of these stories, and we're working
Mm,
through that as well, right? And we made peace with that, and in our heads there might be some beliefs that it's like, well, if I share that, you know, it's something else is going to happen, but it's like it's not happened yet, right? Like we can create our own. It goes back to creating our own future. So with that stories, let me tell you, like, you are inspiring us, and I hope you're inspiring the listeners, the people that are watching this, to take action and to do, because you are really showing that anything is really possible. Like what you said, like from a tiny
absolutely.
screen in the other side of the world, you're impacting, you know, thousands of people on this other side of the world that they can create, and then they will turn around and help many others. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
we publishing have a mission, and you know that mission is to, you know, for stories through the things that we do on a daily basis, then help the next person do the next step,
Yeah.
right? Execute and do
it,
that.
it's interesting, right? Because yesterday I received an email from one of the guests that we're bringing onto the podcast. He has a really cool business, but he hasn't been in too many podcasts, right? So he asked me,
Oh,
in your opinion, what does it make a good guest from a mediocre one? And the first thing I told him is they tell stories. They tell
yeah.
stories over just sharing facts. And that's what you've been doing today all day. And thank you. And
Thank
I
you.
also want
Yeah.
to follow up on my brother, what he said, because the stories are such an important part of marketing, right? Because they create these beliefs. And we started with the hook on how to get high paying clients using organic marketing. And I'm sure, and I want to dig a little bit into this, but I'm sure one of those elements is embracing your vulnerability, right? And actually sharing
Uh,
these stories with people that allow you to connect in a deeper level.
Absolutely. It's not that I've learned this. I think uh, I came with like my genes coming from my dad.
Yeah.
My dad, he used to be a school principal, and every time he wanted to explain something to me, or if he wants to not teach me, if he wants to tell me anything, it has to be through a story. And he's now 77 years old, and until today he repeats the same stories. And I was like, Dad, I've heard this for the 110th times. And he's
Just
like,
tell me.
it's okay, but it enforces what I want to say. So it's okay if I repeat this. It enforces the what I want to share with you now. And it was uh, at the first time, like, or at the beginning, I was like so annoyed because he's sharing the same story with me, and like, my dad, please, like, I know this. But naturally I realized that it was the easiest way for me to learn and to understand what he wanted from me to do, or what he wanted to share with me. And I also realized that it was the easiest way for me to communicate with others, to explain it to them. And let me tell you, the stories that you really fear sharing are the stories that you should be sharing, because there are so many people out there thinking that their struggle is only for them, within them. They're the only people suffering from this. But when you're sharing such a story, you might find people who think that they're alone in this. And by sharing your story, you can inspire them, help them, and tell them that you're not alone. So the stories that you fear of telling yourself or sharing it with others are the exact stories that you should be sharing with others. And
Yeah.
it's very, very powerful. Yeah.
Incredible.
Wow.
Um, well, with that and stories, I think we have some minutes left here, but I want to dive in on like why you started the podcast, right? Because obviously we work with a lot of people. We have our own podcast, obviously. You're listening to one and you're on one.
Mhm.
But like why a platform, right? Why that podcast? And maybe that will cascade a little bit into the hook that we mentioned earlier, right? So
Well,
is there
there
a
are
specific?
many.
Yeah, go ahead.
There
Sorry.
are many reasons. There are many reasons for starting a podcast. But the first reason, the number one reason, it was an internal thing inside me. As I said, I had so many insecurities and limiting beliefs, which is, again, as a girl coming from the Middle East and conditioned to believe my whole life that I am not supposed to dream or think big or even share my voice. Like, who would listen to me?
Yeah.
So these limiting beliefs inside me, regardless of what businesses do I have or whatever like that I'm doing, but I had those limiting beliefs and insecurities inside me, and I felt that in order for me to grow out of this, I have to share my voice. And the easiest way for me is to do it through podcasting because I did not like videos. So videos for me
Mhm.
is maybe I'm good at it. I don't know, but I don't like it.
You are.
I
You are
You're
amazing.
great at
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Just saying.
well,
We're putting the life into the universe. You're great at it.
thank you. But like video takes a lot of things. I'm a very visual person. I like beautiful things. I like videos that are done properly. I like your background, for example. I'm hiding in
Thank you.
the guest room because there are so like 20 people inside my house. So for example, if I want to publish this, I wouldn't do it in this room, but I had to. So I overthink it when I do it on videos, and I realized that that would stop me from showing or sharing my message, and there should be another way. And when I knew that there is something called podcasting, which is me just talking and sharing my experience and talking to others, I found
Yeah.
that this was the perfect platform where you can build your authority, share your message without, even if you're introvert, and without having all the hassle of being good at video editing or having a nice background or studio or wearing makeup. Like if you notice, I've been doing this to my hair for like an hour and I don't like my hair, so you can tell. Seriously. So
Wait,
podcasting.
Fonzie used to do that too. He had a long hair, and that's why
Yeah.
he's wearing a hat every day. So, yeah, we solved it. Just put a hat on it.
I should maybe seriously I even joined this live group to practice doing lives more and to practice doing it without makeup and just wearing a pajama just to try to break this. Anyways, so
Yeah.
I know the importance of publishing. I know how important for me to share my message if I want to reach to many people. And podcasting was one of the best and easiest way. And then I realized the power of podcasting. So I started it out of, as I said, to scatter or to kill this insecurity inside me.
Yeah.
But then I realized the power of it. I realized how beautiful it is because you get the chance to interview amazing people that you would never expect to speak to or to talk to. And I realized even that the episodes that sometimes you're not in the mood. Sometimes it happens. You're not in the mood to
Yeah.
like speak to strangers, right? And but I never missed an episode that I scheduled because I knew that that one episode that I would miss could be one of the best episodes that I would have. So, and that really happened with me. Some of the episodes that I was trying to avoid were some of the best episodes because those guests were like more than amazing. I learned so much from
Oh,
them. It's a powerful tool. The podcast is a powerful tool for you personally as a speaker, as a host, to learn from others. And it's like a free ticket to a top notch university,
yeah.
learning from other people. So, yeah.
Incredible.
Wow.
Thank you for that answer. And we agree 100% on everything that you said, because and that was one of the many reasons of why we started the show, and it allows us the opportunity to speak with wonderful people just like you, and sharing these stories with so many others. I think it's time to ask you about one action point. What is something that, and I think we can relate it to how to get high paying clients
Yeah.
using organic marketing. So when tackling that, what is like the number one thing that people need to do?
Amazing. So for me, number one thing is to build a network, to build real relationships with other people. So what's happening in the online space because life is becoming virtual every day. It's easier to just send or press the like button, leave a comment or a text. And no, recently it's even the comments are even automated, and it sucks, by the way, and it's really
Yes.
obvious that it's automated. So
Yeah.
life is becoming really virtual. And I had the chance to witness the two worlds, the offline world and the online world. So when I built, me and my husband, when we built our SaaS business, I considered it a real business because we had to go and speak with real people and to network with them and to negotiate with them and to feel and see their body language and to learn a lot about psychology and how to speak with with real humans. And
Yeah.
when I say real humans, it's because people online, they're becoming like aliens, seriously. And we noticed that the best clients that we had were the clients that we really build strong relationships with, where we
Yeah.
help them first, where we uh, not try just to sell them, we try to help and to network with them in a more human way. And you can easily do this in the online world by building relationships. This is very, very important. Focus on building relationships. So that's why podcasting is a very powerful tool where you can just immediately create this rapport with your guest and
Absolutely.
create a good network with top notch influencers, let's say. And
Yeah.
from there, selling your services. That's why I created another Arabic podcast for our SaaS business, where I
Wow.
interview CEOs of real estate companies. To sell them eventually our software. That interview, the 30-minute interview, secured for us more than $4 million in sales during the pandemic, because it cut the cycle. Instead of just going and trying to secure a meeting, and when they know that you want to sell them something, they just even push you to the next year, or maybe the secretary will just put you aside, or no one will answer your calls or emails. But when you show people that you are interested in them and build again in the podcast, you build immediate rapport with them, you shorten the life cycle of closing a deal from 3 months to 30 minutes. And this is what happened with us during the pandemic. So building relationships and publishing, for sure, was the one, or let's say those are two things that helped me in all my businesses to generate clients, high paying clients. You need to
Yeah.
create high engaging and valuable content, and at the same time build real relationship. This will immediately just put you in the top, and you can close like as much as you want in
Incredible. You're a sister from another mother. Just saying. Incredible. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing that.
this was amazing.
Yeah, we need more people sharing what you're doing on. We have to get this to so many people. Like you said, the tool is so powerful.
I related a lot with what you just said, because when we first started, was specifically me, this was my thought. I was like, oh, I'm gonna make money in the internet without having to talk to anybody.
That's
right?
definitely.
And,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
and it was the wrong approach totally. And throughout the years, I've discovered that, you know what, it is actually this is very similar of doing business in the real world, just through a different medium. Right now we have Zoom that we can talk and we can connect with people on
Yeah.
a face-to-face basis, but building those relationships are key. And that's honestly, that has been one of the biggest lessons I've learned throughout the years that we've been trying to grow Biz Bros, is that we need to build these meaningful real relationships and talk to people, because if not, there's no way you're going to grow your business. It's going to become very, very difficult, if not impossible, to grow your business. And what you just described with the podcast, connecting with people of high influence and becoming friends with them, and having their relationship, caring for the relationship, that is exactly what we do with our podcast as well. We're like, let's connect with the people that we can build potential partnerships as well. How awesome is that, right? Successful people. So thank you so much for bringing that to the table, because that is
Thank
extremely
you.
valuable for anybody that is listening, that have a business and they haven't put that much emphasis on actually building real relationships. There's no better time to start than now, right? And reconnect with,
Absolutely.
actually, to reconnect with people. The holidays is perfect because you can start sending them letters or messages on wishing them a good holiday, and it's a good point to reconnect with them and start rebuilding those
Yeah,
relationships.
incredible. Reem, last question. I know that you have visited in the house and they like, where is she? Maybe is that what you mentioned? I don't know. But where will you be if you did not publish?
Did not publish.
So where will you be if you never published?
Oh, I think I would still be watching Netflix and playing with my cat and just, uh, yeah, just waiting. Because our SaaS businesses would be like doing well, but definitely I wouldn't be as happy as I am today. Definitely. Like, publishing is what really created, um, the real me, the person that I always wanted to be, that I thought that could never happen. I never imagined that in a year time that all of this could happen. Getting to speak with Dean, with Randy Garn, and to be part of their network, being coaching alongside Dean Graziosi, and winning an award and writing a book, and all of this. Like, seriously, if you tell me that a year before, like, I would definitely never believe that this happened. And this is just the start, because I know the power of it, and I know what's going to happen, and I cannot wait to see what's going to happen. Because, as you said before, just being consistent with publishing, uh, I'm sure that the situation is going to be totally, totally different. And without the power of publishing, as I said, I would be just thrown on my couch watching Netflix and not doing anything useful in my life, and just wondering, like, why am I here? Because
Yeah,
this is what happened last year. This is what happened. I thought that life sucks. It's meaningless. It's cruel. And it's not about fame. It's not about wanting to be famous. It's knowing the power that you really can be someone in this life and not just a number. This is what
yeah,
really scared me. This is what really scared me. So, no, I want to be heard. I want to be everywhere. And if I can do it, I remember one last thing. I remember when I was speaking to Elena Cardona and I asked her, what is your number one advice for entrepreneurs to accelerate their business success? And her answer was, I still remember it and repeat it always. She said, promote or publish. Promote,
yeah,
promote, promote, promote. So, in other words, publish, publish, publish.
yeah, yeah,
Because she said, my dream is to reach out to 7 billion people in the world. I know that this could be crazy number to reach out to the whole planet, but she
yeah,
said, why not? If I share it with you in Saudi Arabia, you might share it with others, and that means there's this she believes in that, and she
yeah.
knows the power of publishing, that this is what helped them build their empire. They did not start long time ago. They were almost bankrupt in 2008, and look at them. So, guys, believe in the power of publishing. It makes miracles. So, yeah.
Incredible. Thank you so much for
Wow.
sharing that. Again, another boost, not only for us, but everybody listening. Guys, if you haven't started publishing, this is the time. Do it now. And if you are, continue with the consistency. Keep at it. Reem, thank you so much for your message. Thank you so much for your stories. Thank you so much for your time with us. How can people find you? How can people connect with you? Where do you want to send them?
Now, to Clubhouse, guys. Please, if you're an iPhone user, you have to go to Clubhouse, and you can find me at reem.kharbat, Kharbat. It's the same handle for me on Facebook, Instagram. You can find me on my podcast, the Entrepreneur Accelerator podcast. So LinkedIn, the same handle. So I'm everywhere. Just type in my name, REEM.KHARBAT, and you'll find me whatever you want.
Yeah. And we're gonna leave all the links right in the description. So all you gotta do is to scroll down and click and connect with Reem. We recently started the Clubhouse app as well, so we got accepted. So at least I did. Fonzie is not there.
I don't even know what Clubhouse is.
He doesn't even know what Clubhouse is.
You're
So
missing
Reem
out.
yeah, definitely. I'll be joining you in there and see what the fuzz is all about, because we hear wonderful things. So we might have to do another episode just sharing your Clubhouse experience, your thing. So I'm committing you at some point to diving into that.
Sure.
And Reem, again, thank you so much. Fonzie, anything else?
No, I mean, I'm gonna have to do my homework and see what Clubhouse is to see if they can accept me in that too.
In the cool club.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
could.
Go. You're missing out a lot of amazing things. Russell Brunson was there, and you can be just right next to him. So just go do it immediately. Go.
Right after this conversation. Thank you so much, Reem.
And with that being
Thank
said,
you
guys,
guys for having me.
awesome. Thank you so much for tuning into the Continence Profit Podcast. Go ahead and subscribe. Smash that subscribe button and follow us on social media at BeastBrosCo.
And if you find this episode impactful, which I am sure you did, please don't forget to share it and leave a 5-star review. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye.